It's the match preview for Everton versus West Ham. West Ham, of course, wanting to respond to the defeat to Newcastle on Monday night, which was a disappointing display overall, I think. Well, when I say disappointing display, Tom, I don't mean it was a really bad performance of West Ham. It just wasn't the most exciting, especially going forward. But we'll talk obviously a bit more about that in the preview. Before we get into the video, though, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to do so. We really do appreciate it, and of course, hit that like button because we are getting some very good volume on our likes lately, and it does help us to grow and get other fans involved, etc. So we really do appreciate it. Right, Tom, before we get into it, mate, how are you? All right? You keeping well?
I'm good, yeah, very busy, but no, all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad considering. I've got to be honest, I've been a little bit jaded from that Newcastle defeat. It's just one of those reminders of how far we are behind, and there's so much to do at this football club at the moment. It's just not a great, there's a lot to be done. I don't know about you, Tom. I'm just a part of me, well, when I say a part of me, most of me now just is really looking forward to the end of the season. Just want to get it done, wrap this season up, and then just move on from it as fast as possible and start looking forward, because it does feel like, it feels like we're in pre-season mode. I don't know about you, a little bit, like going in, for this season now. I don't feel, much about it, other than I'd like to finish above, obviously, Spurs and Man United. But, the Newcastle game, I think, sort of dented that a little bit, that confidence that we're going to be able to do so, because we just don't seem, especially at home, don't seem a very good home team at the moment. I haven't really seen us play well at home for quite some time. So, yeah, a bit frustrating. But obviously now we go and play Everton. We know what the big talking point is, Tom. Can't shy away from it. It's Mr. David Moyes, of course. What's your thoughts on Everton and David Moyes? Have you been impressed with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's come in and done exactly what I think a lot of West Ham fans thought he would do. I think if you're a club struggling at the bottom of the Premier League, maybe your running stats are quite low, you're overcomplicating things a little bit, David Moyes is very much normally the answer. And particularly with Everton, obviously they've got a connection with him. He was a manager for a long time. Last season at Goodison Park, that sort of emotional connection as well. It felt like the perfect appointment for them. And he's just done what David Moyes does. He's got them playing, he's got them running, he's got them working hard. Goodison Park is now, again, a difficult place to go. And I think he's doing a good job. It's to be expected. I think with David Moyes, you're always going to get what you think out of him. It's the next step. It's when you become a top 8, top 7, top 6 side. How do you go to the next step? And that's obviously the difficulties we found. And he ended up moving on. But I think for this stage, as a club, Everton couldn't have picked a better appointment. Unbeaten in, I think, 8 now in the Premier League. Look really hard to beat. Look like they're got back to the basics, got a striker plan in Beto who's on form a little bit, and got some dangerous players. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game on Saturday, and I think if we're going to get anything out of it, we're going to have to be prepared to work hard, because I don't think you can go to Goodison Park these days and not work hard. So yeah, he's done very well so far since he's been there.
Yeah, I share that. I think he's been impressive, actually, Moyes, and good luck to him. I know that there's a fair few fans wanted him gone. I was one of them. Certainly felt it was the right time for him to move on from the club. We'll talk about the media stuff in a minute, which is annoying me. But David Moyes in particular, really pleased for him. As you say, it felt like the right move for all parties. He's got that connection with Everton. The Evertonians, they know him. He knows the club, and it's the right size football club for David Moyes. I think like West Ham was as well. It's that right. We're very. I feel like we're very similar to Everton. We're not a million miles apart as clubs. Always in the shadows of our neighbours, which has irked fans, but also builds you that kind of, I don't know, that real love for the club. You're not chasing it for glory. You're there because that's where you are supposed to be, and you're willing your team to do better. And they've always sort of, I've not seen Everton win anything really in my lifetime. I think the last time was 96, 97. They won an FA Cup, but I haven't seen them, be successful. Obviously, West Ham have got a trophy, and we got it under Moyes. So recently, I just think it's a very good fit for them. And having David Moyes back, I think what he's done is, as you said, Tom, he does what David Moyes does, which is gets his teams organised. He gets the basics right. The media side of it, which I don't like, which is lazy journalism. We're going to get that a lot. It's just this constant beating of the drum of, oh, look at West Ham. You could have had David Moyes and you would have been doing so much better. I do believe had we have kept David Moyes, right? If we decided, actually, do you know what, we're not going to bring Lopetegui in. Let's go back. We'll give David Moyes another contract. I do believe we'd be better off now where we are in the league, right? Because I just think David Moyes he's a pretty decent Premier League manager. He will get you more points than not. He will get you there, but his time was up at West Ham. Let's not forget that in the last 2 years in the Premier League, so domestically under him, it was really shocking. We were terrible, and we were taking batterings week in, week out. It was a real slog. We had 2 seasons of being down pretty much by the bottom. I know that we finished, was it 9th in his last season? I know that, but we were really bad towards the end of that season. We were really losing out a lot and taking some real heavy defeats. So the time was right. And unfortunately, the media don't ever really report on that bit. They sort of eradicate. They just sort of focus on, well, he won you a trophy. You got European football. Why did you get rid of him? They sort of forget the fact that, you've been down the bottom of the league for a long time. You've taken some real bad hammerings, and it was quite clear there were issues at the club. And it just felt like the right time to depart from David Moyes, and it felt like it feels the right time for him to be at Everton. And good luck to him. Do you know what I mean? Good luck to him. Obviously, apart from on Saturday, which is obviously, we've got to face up to him now, the first time. This is going to be quite interesting. You mentioned Goodison Park, obviously their final season there. I've got to be honest, I'm quite jealous of their stadium. It looks great, and it looks quite sort of standard. I don't want to say it doesn't look like it's got the most personality in it, but I quite like that in a way. It's just got that. It looks like it's going to be quite a noisy, intimidating place to go, actually. And I think that's what Everton will want. I feel like the danger, which they will experience, I'm sure, is that it's still going to be a new home for them. It's going to take them a while to adjust. I'll be very surprised if they hit the ground running in that stadium and it becomes a fortress very quickly. It does take some time for everyone to adjust to a new home. But, good luck to them. Fair play. They've been battling down the bottom of that Premier League, which seems like forever. It's got to be 5 years in the spin, it feels like now, that they've been slogging it down the bottom of the league. So it's about time, I think, they turn things around and had a better season. And I do feel David Moyes will give them that. I think next season they will be a sort of mid-table, top half side, pretty comfortably under Moyes. I think they're going to be a decent side. So before we go into West Ham, though, any sort of players you think of that come to mind that we've got to be quite wary of in this game?
Well, I don't think they've got a team of stars, have they? They are hardworking individuals, and as a team, they're hard to beat. But I don't think they've got any particular stars in their side. Their midfield is very busy, very workmanlike. Idrissa Gueye, James Garner, and Decore, really hardworking players. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on our midfield and our defence. I think I like Beto. I think he's a good player when he's got space in behind the defence. So, we'll get onto our team at the bit. I think hopefully we go with a lower block to combat that. And I think generally speaking, Everton as a side, when they're hitting on the counter, classic David Moyes, they're better. When you actually let them have the ball and they've got to sort of break you down, I think they're going to find some challenges with that. I really like Alcaraz, who they brought in January. I think he's a dangerous player. He's a bit of an off-the-cuff player, a bit of a wild card, if you like. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts. I know they've got some injuries, Everton. They've got some players out. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's still out, Dwight McNeil. So they've got some injury problems themselves. So I think they're just you know what to expect with Everton. Like, I don't think we're going to turn up on Saturday and they're just going to be not at it. They're going to be at it. Goodison Park's going to be bouncing. Maybe not to the same degree it was against Liverpool and things like that, but they're going to be up for it. So you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to be quick on the ball because you're not going to have time on the ball. They're going to press. The fans are going to, make sure that they're pressing as a team at the right times. And then it's what we do with the ball on the counter attack. But yeah, I think they're solid. Defensively, they're pretty solid. I like Branthwaite and Tarkowski. I think they've got 2 good centre backs there. And they just do, like I said before, under Moyes have done the basics well. I don't think they've got any player that if we did sit deep, that's going to unlock the door, as it were, and break us down. I don't see a special player that's just going to get on the ball and do something special. I hope I'm not proved wrong there. But I think they're more workmanlike than anything else. So hopefully we're up for the challenge on Saturday.
Yeah. I think we know David Moyes. We know how he sets up. We know we've had it for years. We know exactly what his fundamentals are in a team. It's going to be to make it difficult for the opponent to defend well, be solid, and play counter attack. When they've got possession, when they catch West Ham out, really burst fast, try and catch us out, and also be really dangerous on set pieces. That's how they're going to win games, and that's what we've seen from David Moyes since he's gone back to Everton, and that's what we got to combat. And let's be honest, that's where we struggle when teams sit back and defend. That's where we struggle, because we don't seem to have much of a creative output at the moment at all. We really are lacking that. That's where my concerns are with this game, actually, because that's what Everton are going to do. They're going to sit back. We are going to have more possession than Everton in this game. I'm sure of it. I think we're going to have about 60% possession, likely, possibly even more. It's going to be a hard game, though. That's just because we've got the ball doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I think they're going to be really dangerous and tough to break down. They're going to work really hard, like you say. And having the David Moyes factor gives it a little bit of an edge this game. They're going to be really eager to see that, to rub salt in the wound, Oh yeah, look, you got rid of Moyes, we've got him, and we've just beaten you, and now we're ahead of you in the table by 3 points. That's what they're going to want to see. So I think that's right, isn't it? Yeah. So it's going to be it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game. On to West Ham, mate. I mean, no real new injury updates. I think it's all pretty much as it was. Crescencio Somerville's out. I mean, we've talked about this earlier in the week. I'm a little bit annoyed about this update from him, and that he could be out for the season. He might not even be available in mid-pre-season. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting a bit tired of it. The never-ending West Ham injuries that we never seem to be able to diagnose, and we don't know what's wrong with the player, even though he's a calf strain that turned into, what was it, a hamstring injury? It was 2 weeks out. It's now turned into out for 9 months. I'm not quite sure that's managed to happen, but it is. Nicholas Fulkrug's obviously making headway, but he's unavailable at the moment. We understand it. He's not fit. Yeah, so it's basically going to be the same as last time. We've got Paqueta available. We've got Soufal available. I think, Tom, I wouldn't say this is a must-win game. I think that would be a little bit extreme. I mean, I don't think anything's really must-win for us now, because we're not really playing for too much. But I think on the basis of where we are at the moment in the season, and the fact that we're going to play David Moyes at Everton, I think this is a game that Graham Potter cannot afford to lose. I feel like there will be quite a backlash if West Ham go to Everton and roll over and we get beaten badly, or even just lose the game, even if we were to lose 1-0. You just know you can read the headlines straight away. You know that it's, and bear in mind this is before an international break, so it means that we're going to have to deal with it for 2 weeks, and it's just going to be constant that West Ham made a mistake. West Ham should have got David Moyes. We cannot lose this game. It's going to be, in my opinion, it will be quite nasty. And I think this last thing we need. We've had a crap season as it is, and I really don't want to have the next 2 weeks we're hearing about is how we made a mistake getting rid of Moyes, because that's all we're going to keep hearing. I think that the Newcastle game was another demonstration of just the task at hand here for Graham Potter and his team. I think there's so much to be done at West Ham. We are really lacking going forward. I mean, I know people say, but you've got Bowen, you've got Kudus, you've got Paqueta, but these players have been decimated in terms of their confidence over the last couple of years. I feel like this team needs freshening up big time, and there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done with this team. It really is. I'm looking at it thinking this is not. I do wonder now whether Graham Potter's looking at this and thinking, my word, like when I saw the squad and the quality available, probably thinking I could get a tune out of these players. He's probably realising actually a lot of these players are probably a little bit overhyped, and possibly, and there's a lot to be done. They're not quite fitting the system, so there's a fair bit amount of work to be done. One stat I want to talk to you about, though, Tom, is the attacking numbers. They're not reading very good. I've got to be honest. We are bottom of the league since David Moyes. Here we go. Maybe I'm doing it. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm just preparing myself for next week. Since Graham Potter came in, we're bottom of the league. Bottom of the league for shots on target. Bottom of the league for shots in total during games. That's really bad. I mean, that is really bad considering the fact we're in the same league as Southampton. And they're having more of a go than we are. It's quite alarming, really. I do have sympathy for him, though, because I do think he's sorted the defence out. What's your thoughts on this in terms of this game? And also between now and the end of the season, do you feel that there needs to be a focus now on getting more of an attacking threat out of these players?
Yeah, I think he needs to take the handbrake off a little bit, Graham Potter. I understand where he's coming from. Like I say, he's obviously set up a system and a team to get us better defensively, because we were woeful before under Lopesady. We're more compact. That's what we was asking for. So a few ticks since he's come into the business. But I do think, like now you've just let the handbrake off. Like I appreciate what you're saying about tomorrow and Everton, and that we can't lose because of the sort of the nature of the game and it being David Moyes. But other than that, after this game, we've not got a lot to lose for the rest of this season. Like I said, we're not going down. We probably won't even be caught by Wolves. So we are probably going to be 16th or higher. So yes, we'd love to finish a few places higher, but I only think we're going to do that is if we can actually take the handbrake off and start scoring some goals, get some shots on target, as you say, and start seeing what we've got moving forward as an attacking team. So yeah, I think tomorrow will be interesting. I actually think it almost is in our favour tomorrow because I think we will almost let Everton have the ball. This is what I'm hoping for anyway. But I think we will let Everton have the ball and then it will just sort of suit us. I think it suits us that we're away from the London Stadium as well. And I think the pressure's off in that sense. It's a high stakes game, don't get me wrong, but I think we could come away with something. Don't want to give my prediction away too early, but I think it could be a good one. So yeah, rest of the season, I hope after the Everton game, I really hope he takes the handbrake off and we start to see more from this attacking options. But it makes sense. It makes sense. He had to sort the defence out. I think he's done that. We're conceding less goals now. We look more solid. Even the goal against Newcastle, you could argue, was a foul. So we are better defensively these days, and hopefully we can start to see some more from an attacking threat. Also, by the way, Mohamed Kudus, who is probably one of, if not the most attacking, our best attacking player, has been nothing short of poor, really, from attacking sense. I know he has had better games, like against Arsenal. He done well in terms of how he's holding the ball up and stuff like that. But you are our star man. We bought you for 45 million, not to just be able to hold the ball and hold people off and make a couple of dribbles until you lose it. That's not good enough at this level. If you want your move to your Arsenals or Liverpools or even a Newcastle, for example, you're going to have to start producing better numbers. I think he's got 3 Premier League goals this season. Just not good enough. Just not good enough. And Graham Potter can't legislate for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's come in and thinks, oh, Mo Kuda's got a great player here. Started him. We've done these previews a few times and said get him outside. Graham Potter stuck with him, and he's just not really seen any benefit from it. So yeah, a bit of a ramble there, but I think tomorrow could actually be decent for us. But hopefully for the rest of the season, we start taking the handbrake off and look better going forward.
Yeah, I think there's no denying that Graham Potter's improved us defensively as a team, even not just defensively. As a team, we've massively improved under Potter. There's no denying it. I'm sure that had we had not made the change, the game like Newcastle would not have been a 1-0 defeat. It'd have probably been a 4 or 5-0. We'd have been, we are far more difficult to beat now. And I mean, you've only got to look at the numbers in the last 3 games. We've conceded 1 goal in the last 3 games. We've got 6 points, and that included games against Newcastle and Arsenal. So I think that just shows you in itself how we are progressing. As you say, the problem is now the focus needs to now shift a little bit. I feel like we are organised at the back. I don't feel we need to continually be so mindful that we just can't concede goals. I think we've got to start imposing ourselves better in the game going forward. And I agree with you, Kudus. Don't get me wrong, he works so hard and can't knock him for that, but his end product has not been there this season at all. And you can see it's bothering him as well because you can sense it from his greediness. He's having wild shots and desperately wanting to take on more players. You can see he just wants a goal. He wants his own goal to get his confidence levels up. But at times I find it frustrating to watch. But it is what it is. This is going to be a tough game. I feel like it's difficult when we talk about the setup. But let's go to the team now. What we'd like to see, how we want to see. It's a difficult one actually because I've gone for the same formation, the back 3 with the wing backs. I feel like that's the system that seems to work well for us. Although the only issue I've got with that is if you want an attacking team and we want to go there and get goals, it does feel like we're setting up quite defensively. But then having said that, we've seen the back 4 under Potter and it just didn't work. We look so out of shape. The players look lost. And I'm concerned us doing that in this game would be a risk. So I'd rather just stick to what we're good at and then see how we take it. So let's go through the players, mate. And let's start with our goalkeeper. Who are you having in goal, Tom? I think this one kind of answers itself, but we'll see.
Yeah, again. Hasn't put a foot wrong. I don't think the goal against Newcastle was particularly his fault either. Yeah, I think he's been pretty solid, Areola.
I agree. Right, back five then. I'm going to go for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I assume we're going for. I assume the back five sort of takes its care of itself.
Yeah,
I'm going to say my five, unless I'm assuming you're going to go for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, Cresswell, and Scholes. Yeah, back five.
Yeah.
Fine. I think that's sort of a step out. Right, the midfield's the interesting one now because this is where we're failing. I think we're just not got no legs in this midfield. There's no creativity, and I think against Newcastle having Alvarez and Ward-Prowse and Souček, I just don't like it. I don't really like it. I think it's just. It worked well against Arsenal. It works well against teams that are going to really have more of the ball. You're going to be right up against it. You've got to defend really well. I think like when you're against teams and you really want to go and impose yourself and score goals, I just feel like it's not really that useful. It's just too slow. It's too defensive, and it just has no outlet. So this is going to be I was going to start with the midfield duo, the ones that will be in front of the defence. I'm going to put Edson Alvarez in there, who I've not been overly thrilled with, I've got to be honest. But I'm happy to keep him in this game. And I'm going to put Lucas Paqueta in there as midfield. I want him playing a bit deeper because of that reason. Because I want him to be able to pick up the ball and be able to go forward and make things happen a little bit. I don't get me wrong, I really love Ward-Prowse. He's come back in. I'm fair, credit to him. He's been excellent, really. Arguably probably our best midfielder since he's come back in. But he's not really an attack-minded player. He's never going to get that ball and carry it and be creative. He's really just going to be there to give me the ball and it might distribute it to the side or push it back to the goalkeeper. He's not a player that's going to be creative and that. So I'm dropping him for this one, which I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I am as well, but for different reasons, really, and for a different player. So I do agree. I mean, I would go with Alvarez again. Not impressed with him either. And I've gone for Carlos Soler alongside him instead of Paqueta. And my reason is that, as I mentioned before, I think Everton are going to be all over us in terms of their midfield: Decore, Gay, James Garner. I think we need someone who's a sharp passer, who can get it, give it quickly, and can physically get about the pitch as well. Now, I know that's not Soler's particular strength, but I do think he's physically better. He's obviously younger than James Ward-Prowse, can get about the pitch a little bit more. So just to match up Everton a little bit and have someone who can, like I say, I'm hoping that we do play a low block and we let Everton have the ball. I know it's going to be difficult because, like you said, they're going to be doing the same to us. They'll almost let us have the ball.
It's going to be a bloody boring game if that's the case.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm hoping it comes like Soler gets in some decent positions. And I think we haven't really seen Soler in a deep midfield position since Newcastle away, funny enough, at St James's Park, where I think he almost ran the game, particularly in the second half. So I'm going for Soler alongside Alvarez. I want to see him picking up the ball off the defence and those sharp passes into what I've gone with, like a front three. And yeah. And likewise, James Ward-Prowse has done nothing wrong, but I just don't think he's made for this game.
Yeah. I like that though. I've got to be honest. I think your reasoning there for Soler, you may have swayed me on that one, but I'm sticking with the team I wrote down. I've said Soler. Yeah, I do understand you. And you say, and I'd like to see him actually play that deeper role. I don't think we see it very often with him. They keep putting him out on the left and putting him right up, playing as number 10. I don't think it really suits him. As you say, I think he's better to give him the ball and he can just because he does release the ball quick. He's got a way of pushing the ball on fast. And as you say, if you're going to play a sort of counter attack kind of football, that's the sort of player you want. It would certainly give us a little bit more creativity in that midfield. I just think that's what we lack. James Ward-Prowse has been excellent. I still want him on the bench and he could well be involved in this if needed, but I just feel like in this game we're going to need a bit of something and we're lacking something at the moment. There's no two ways about it. We look more solid, but we just look like a team that's incapable of scoring goals at the moment, so we need to change it. Right, the front three then. So I'm going for Jarrod Bowen out on the right-hand side of the midfield, Mohamed Kudus on the left, and Evan Ferguson up front. What's your thoughts on that? Are you similar?
Similar, but I'm having Paqueta instead of Kudus.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm really disappointed with Kudus, so I would drop him. And yeah, hopefully Paqueta comes in and delivers one of his better performances, which I think he's definitely capable of. And hopefully, like I say, put a bit more push forward, closer to Ferguson. I'd like to see them three close together, getting the ball into Ferguson's feet, getting Bowen and Paqueta moving off of him. And yeah, hopefully Aaron Wan-Bissaka down the right, maybe Ollie Scholes on the left as well, pushing forward and then starting to create problems from there. I want to see, what I don't want to see is players running into cul-de-sacs and just losing the ball on the break, and then Everton get the ball back and then start their own attack. And I think Mo Kudus is the biggest culprit for that. Let's short, sharp passing, get the ball into Bowen, into Paquetá, let them get running off Ferguson, and hopefully cause Everton some problems, which I think they would do. So that's what I've gone with.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. I agree with you with Kudus. I mean, it's a shame because he does work hard. I think he's probably one of our hardest working players, really, for most games. He really puts himself about and really wants to make things happen. It's just his decision making this season has been so poor, and it's just. And he's certainly lost his shooting boots a little bit. It's not his confidence level just isn't there at the moment. You can see it. Whereas the player we had last season was scoring from everywhere. You know, just a bit. Once you're confident, you can sense it straight away. That difference in how you do things on instincts. You don't keep second guessing himself. At the moment, you can see Kudus is always overthinking everything and trying to take too many touches. And yeah, it needs to happen for him. I do get your point. Jared Bowen, I really want to see though a front three that involves Ferguson now. I'm getting to the stage now where I'm actually questioning why we've signed Ferguson. It feels like a bit of a pointless signing. Saw Graham Potter in his press conference about it, and he was saying, "Oh, we're thrilled with Ferguson. This is exactly what we wanted." I'm a bit confused. We're barely seeing him play. I don't understand. How can we be thrilled and this is all what we wanted? I thought that we were bringing a striker in to spearhead the front line between now and the end of the season. We might be buying him for £50 million in the summer. I mean, at the moment, I wouldn't buy him for 20 million because we're not even seeing a player. It's almost like they're wrapping him in cotton wool, and I don't really get what we're. If he breaks down with a bad injury, fine. Send him back to Brighton and go, look, he's broken. We don't want him. So I'm not sure what we're protecting it, because I'd be really disappointed if this is going to be between now and the end of the season, and then we get to the summer and we go, right, we're going to try and buy Ferguson for 40, 50 million. I'd be really upset. And so, yeah, let's just get him playing, for God's sake. Right, yeah, so that's right. And I'm putting Kudus up front for this one in terms of on the left-hand side. But I do understand what you're saying. If your team was selected, I wouldn't be disappointed. Let's put it that way. So I do feel like I'm totally in agreement with what you're saying. Right, let's go into the all-important scores. How are you feeling? You feeling confident? You kind of hinted that you are. You're feeling.
I am. Surprisingly, yeah? I feel like out of the two of us, I'm normally the more pessimistic one. But I actually think the game suits us. I think it suits us that it's away. I think that not that I'm one for curses, but the manager of the month curse could be in full force. David Moyes,
did he get manager of the month then, Moyes? Did he?
It's up today, I think.
Right, okay. So didn't see that.
That could be an update. But I just think,
of course, he flipping did. He'd probably get presented with it before the game.
Yeah.
Fucking
this sort of it wouldn't be typical Premier League, like the competition of the Premier League, for Everton to be flying unbeaten in eight. We've just come off the back of a defeat to Newcastle, a bit drab, a bit poor, and then we just go and win. Like it would be classic, both Premier League and classic West Ham. So I think the game suits us. I hope to God that we sit with a low block. We just let Everton have the ball. They've got the pressure. They're at home. The Goodison faithful will push them on a little bit. They'll try and get them forward, and that could just work in our favour to hit on the break, maybe get a set piece and just cause problems. And I think, I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Ham win. So I am optimistic. Maybe.
I like it. But 2 goals as well. You're insane. 2 West Ham, 2 goals in a match. What are you, bloody hell? I'll have what he's having. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No. Look, I feel like the writing's on the wall that we lose, because it's just typical Moyes. It's kind of written in the stars. I feel like that's going to happen. But that being said, West Ham are a different beast under Graham Potter. I know it was a bit disappointing against Newcastle, but let's be honest. We went to Arsenal. We were outstanding. We played all right against Leicester. They were against a pretty crap team. And I think if we'd have ramped up gone through the gears, I think we would have beaten them by more goals. And I felt that we weren't that bad against Newcastle. It wasn't a horrendous performance. It was just a bit flat. We didn't have a lot of outlet. And like you say, mate, they scored 1 goal and it could have been given as a foul. And also we could have had a penalty at the other end. Slipped fine margins. It's not as if we've just come off the back of a hammering and we were dreadful. That isn't the case. And let's be honest, we haven't really been that bad under Potter. I think there's only been a couple of performances where you've gone, that was pretty drab. I think Brentford at home, and I think it was Palace at home. I think they're the 2 games that sort of stick out. I remember we didn't perform very well, but apart from that, we've looked pretty good. They're the only other games we've never looked too bad. So I do feel like things are better than what the feeling is at the moment. So I do anticipate we're actually going to go and get something. I don't think we're going to lose. But I'm kind of leaning on the side of what we were talking earlier. I've got a feeling it's going to be a really boring game. I've got a feeling we're going to be quite defensive and not want to lose. I think they're going to be defensive and not want to lose. And I think a draw suits both teams. I think West Ham would be happy to take a point. I think Everton would be more than happy with a point. And I don't know. I've just got this feeling it's going to be a bit of a drab affair. I'm going with 0-0. I don't think there's going to be any goals. I think it's going to be a really crappy game. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I'd like it to be. I mean, it shouldn't be a game where teams are desperate not to concede goals because who gives a shit? We're not going down. Nothing's good, like you've said. There's not really much to lose. Might as well just go out there and give it their all. But I just get the feeling that we know how Moyes will set up. He's not going to go to his team, right, let's go gung-ho, do everything to beat West Ham. He's going to be very much safety first, and I've got a feeling Potter will be the same. I've got a feeling he'll want to get something from this match. And I think we'll both settle for a draw. So that's my gut feeling on this, mate. I'm going with 0-0 because that's the kind of exciting guy I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be prepared to stay up late for match of the day because we could be
mate, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the 3 minutes of highlights.
Yeah.
Including the bit, and that includes them coming out onto the pitch and afterwards and the interviews. That includes that. That's how exciting I think this one's going to be. Tom, a pleasure as always. We'll do our review of this on I think Sunday. We're going to time to do Sunday. We'll try and get something in.
Yep.
We'll do a review of it, and then we will have some more bits and pieces coming, of course, over the course of the week, and we've got some transfer bits and bobs coming up. But yeah, Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, mate, and I'll see you for the match review. Have a good one, mate. Take care. Cheers.